Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I was thinking about something today and I want to share it with you. I think narcs are changing their strategy. I think they're on to us. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hey everybody, Zari Ballard here. I got something I want to talk to you about today, and I've been thinking about it. But before I do that, before I get into it, I want you to hit that subscribe button right there and the notification bell so you get notified of the videos. And don't mind me, I'm going to smoke today. I just got out of work at the auction and I feel like smoking. I want to tell you something. 5 years ago, when I started writing my books, there was not a whole lot of information about narcissism available. So narcs back then had a much easier time because we didn't really know what was going on. We were very confused, okay? But since then, it's all changed. I mean, there are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books about it. There's so many websites about it. There's even narcs out there talking about it, like H.D. Tudor. Okay, he's written like 50 books telling all the secrets. What made us think that narcs have not evolved along with us? Of course they have, and they're changing their strategy. The reason I thought about this was because I started to get calls, and I've noticed this just say over the past year, that certain things that were prominent in the symptoms of the narcissistic personality are really not happening as much as they used to. Number one, narcs are just not hoovering like they used to do. That makes sense to me. Why would they come back when they know that you know that information is out there and that people like me are out there and there are narcs like Tudor giving up all the secrets? Why would they keep coming back? Even a narc knows when the jig is up. So when people call me and they say, well, I mean, he meets all the criteria, everything, except he just doesn't hoover. I think it's really over. And I'm like, yeah, and it even confused me for a little bit. But now I'm thinking, why would we think that they wouldn't be evolving right along with us? These are smart people. So why would we think that they're not following along, keeping up with the information? We even call them out. People tell me, I called him a narc, I called him a sociopath. Do you think he's not going to go look that up? Of course he is. The second thing that they're not doing as much is they're not as mean as they used to be. That's what I noticed. They're not as mean as they used to be. People will call and say, my narc is never mean to me. He's never mean to me. He does everything else. He cheats, does everything else, but he just is not that mean to me. Well, of course not. Because he's read all the information and he knows that a demeaning, the word salad narc speak narc is old school. The new narc isn't quite as mean as that. Third thing that they don't do is have girlfriends, like a primary they'll have, and that's usually who calls me. And then it used to be that narcs would have like one other girlfriend, and that would be the source of the triangulation all the time, would be that. And you might not ever find out about her. You might have suspicions about it, maybe you catch it, maybe not. There might be one girl always hovering in the background. But now I'm finding that they're choosing to have a lifestyle instead. Whether it's swinging or just having random hookups. That's a lot easier to have that in the primary. Because the whole fun about the cheating for a narc is having someone's back behind which to do evil things. Having just a deviant lifestyle and the primary, they don't have to worry about the pressure of two relationships or two girls or guys that consider themselves exclusive. That was a lot of work for the narc back then. The next thing that they're not doing as much is the sex with the primary is not as prominent as it used to be. This is what I'm finding out. Some partners will call me and say, he fits all the criteria, but while we had sex in the beginning, we don't now. Even though we still hang out together, he still takes me out to dinner, he still wants me to come down for the weekends. Meanwhile, he's having sex with all these other women. Why isn't he with me? And it causes a lot of low self-esteem. It causes to question if they're attractive and all that. And they use different excuses for it. Mine wasn't that way. It was for 13 years we had great sex. That doesn't happen anymore. And the narc is changing their strategies. And the reason that they're doing it, my opinion, is that they've chosen now to take the path of least resistance. And the information on the internet has made that decision easy for them. Before the internet, narcs had a much easier time, of course. They could get away with more things, and it is all about what you can get away with. Then all the information came out, and then all of a sudden the narc is being found, he's being called a narcissist. You're a narcissist, you sociopath. And of course they went looking for it. Why do we think that this whole time that people are calling me, we're reading hundreds of books, you're becoming educated. Everybody can be an NAR coach these days because there's so much information. And Tutor, of course, I think he's written 50 books. He gives out all the information, how narcs are thinking. And he may have that, he's a clever guy, that Tutor, but he may have to rethink his strategy as well and write a couple new books, because I believe that I'm right about this. Okay, so now the narc has been like, you know what? Now we can't get away with hardly anything anymore. We got to change things up here. We got to confuse them, because now as soon as we do a couple things, they're like, "Oh, you're a narc. I know you're a narc." They read it somewhere, heard it somewhere. Somebody mentioned it to them. Maybe even the therapist said something like, "Maybe he's narcissistic." Okay, it used to be that therapists couldn't even diagnose that, and now they can. I mean, it's changed. So the narc adapts because they're like chameleons. And that is what they're doing. They're adapting with the times. So they're not going to be doing the same things that they used to do just 5 years ago. To pinpoint whether your partner's a narc, it's not as simple as going down a checklist anymore. This is what I think. You have to look at the bigger picture. It used to be easy. They would say the same words. They would just do the same things, mannerisms. And that does happen to a great extent. Of course that happens. But it's not quite as easy as going down a checklist. You've got to look at the bigger picture. Just because your narc is not having sex with you, but you're still hanging out together, it doesn't mean he's not a narc. It just means that is the way he's chosen to go now, because that relieves him of the inconvenient guilt, which isn't remorseful guilt. Okay, it's inconvenient guilt. There's other videos that I've done talking about that. Now, the internet, now that they've relaxed into this mode of, okay, we've been exposed, that Zari, Ballard, that HD2 there, they've exposed me. So now what do I do? And the narc being resourceful, it's like, well, I got to just change it up a little bit. And in changing it up, I can avoid a lot of the inconvenience that I used to have before. I don't need to have two girlfriends. I can have the primary, who I keep in a heightened state of anxiety and all that going on. And behind her back, or his back, I can have this random hookup lifestyle, which they've always wanted to do, but it wasn't always, it was a little too inconvenient. But now they're gearing towards that a lot more. And they're not coming back like they used to. They're just not. The hoover is not the prominent symptom of the narcissistic personality. It's not the prominent behavior anymore. And why? Think about it. Why would they want to come back knowing that you're going to go get all the information that you can? And eventually you're just going to be like, nah, it's not going to be as much fun anymore. So narcs have had to change their strategy. Doesn't mean that they're not narcs. It doesn't. It just means that they're smarter narcs. And really, honestly, for us to think that they were going to stay the same is ludicrous. And today, it just dawned on me today. That is why I'm getting so many calls. People saying, I don't know why. And even I was starting to question it. Well, I wonder why they're not hoovering. Maybe he isn't a narc. No, they are. They're still narcs. They're just changing it up. because they're onto us. And they have been looking at the same information to find out what it is that we know so they can change their strategy and still be able to get away with things. So look at the bigger picture. If you're confused about whether your partner, who's causing you a lot of anxiety, is causing you to be suspicious, but you can't really find out anything, who is not quite as mean to you, like you've heard about, like you read about in all the forums, how evil and mean the narcs are. They're not like that anymore. They're ramping it up. And the age, for me, my opinion of the age of the narc, where they go from unpolished to polished, is between 35 and 75. And I don't know how it ends. I don't know if they die alone, or I haven't gotten that far. The oldest narc that I've been hearing about is 80. So, but as soon as I do know, I will let you guys know. But it's between 35 and 75. For the women, it's more like, I would say, 35 to 60, maybe 55, depending. Whether she'll be in her prime, in her 40s, definitely, in late 30s, in her 40s. And the guys can go a long time because age is a little more forgiving with the guys. So, they can hang in it a little bit longer, but they may even be able to hang it in a little bit longer now that they're evolving right along with us. And I figured it out. Tutor better get on that. If you're watching, you better get on that, Tutor. I think that the strategies have all changed. So that's all I wanted to say today. I just wanted to get that out there. Don't be confused. If the guy that you think is an narc in your life doesn't fit the mold exactly, because that's not the way that they're working anymore. They're not. And that's actually very logical. In the world that we live in, with all the information that's available, they've had to change their strategy. They've had to adapt so they can maintain who they are, because this is really all they do. They are narcs. That's all they do. It's the only way they know how to live their life. So they will adapt, and they're very resourceful, and they're clever people, and they're people readers. So they get it, and now we need to get it, and we need to figure it out. So just look at the bigger picture. That's all I'm saying today. Just look at the bigger picture. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for looking at my video today. Find my books on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and also on Smashwords. And you can call me for a consultation, and I'll go over this all with you on the phone. And if you're wondering whether your guy or girl is a narc, I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I think, especially with this new theory I got, because I really do. I think I'm right. May have to write a new book about that. Who knows? Anyway, you have yourself a great day. This is Zari Ballard, and this is the When Love is Alive video blog podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.